Hey everyone, it's Scarlett and welcome back to my channel. We've all been there, deep in the trenches of the writing world, when suddenly someone decides to grace us with their presence and offer us advice we didn't really ask for. Thank you? Half the time, it's not even good advice, or it's shit that we already got on lockdown. But sometimes someone will come and give us advice and we can't tell if it's sound or not. It sounds right, it looks right, it smells right. Wait, what? But one of these things is not like the others. And let's be honest, it's hard not having some sort of existential crisis because your gut is not really helping you out on this one. But don't worry, I got your back. Today I will be talking about the top 5 pieces of advice that are 1, either really shitty, do not listen to them, or 2, are kind of sneaky and you need to take with a grain of salt. So, couple disclaimers out there for you. Number 1, do not take this video too seriously. It is all in the name of fun and games. If I say something or give a piece of really bad advice that you don't agree with, well, okay. And number 2, I am so aware that there is a flurry, just a sea of really terrible advice out there. Some are really well known, some are not. So if you were expecting something to be on this list, I am sorry. Maybe I didn't put it on here because it's more well known than others. For example, write what you know. I know. So without further ado, here are my top 5 pieces of really bad advice. Number 1, avoid social references. They will date the shit out of your book in the future. This is kind of a catch-22. So while it's not like low of the low, really terrible advice, you really need to err on the side of caution. This piece of advice is usually geared toward modern times and events. So slang, technology, and things happening in the news and whatnot. Yes, they date your book. And some people would even go so far as to say that they give an expiration date, a shelf life, you know? And yes, that is true, but also to some degree, they help the reader relate to your book, right? If the fall of MySpace plays a crucial role in your story, or Taylor Swift's love story is basically your star-crossed lover's theme song during the entire book, then I would say have at her. There is a possibility that way down the road, people are going to read your book and be like, what the hell is MySpace and who is Taylor Swift? That will be a risk that you must be willing to take. So like I said, while this is not maybe terrible advice, it is something that you need to take with a grain of salt and just tread lightly on. Number 2, write like you would talk for realistic dialogue. No. Just no. If you did this, the pages of your book would be filled with your characters rambling, not finishing their sentences, getting distracted, getting interrupted, and a shit ton of ums, ers, as, you knows, I don't knows, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. And I get it, while you want your character to not be cardboard or watered down, you want your character to be real and so the reader can visualize and understand and relate. Reading dialogue like that can be very tedious, very long-winded, it can be hard on the eyes, and you might end up losing readers because of it. I would recommend that your characters have an easier time getting straight to the point than we do. I mean, like, you have to kind of act as though they've gone to speech therapy, you know? Have you seen humans lately? Man, it could take us a long time to get to the point. I mean, the path is this way to get from point A to point B, but we are going like this. We are doing loop-de-loops. We are playing jump rope in the corner. We're going to check out the bushes and the waterfalls over here. And then we're like, oh, right, I was getting to a point. There was a moral to this story. 2 hours later. Number 3, wait for the muse to strike. This is on the list. Shocker. It's like my favorite piece of advice to just absolutely loathe. This saying should not exist. We cannot wait for the muse to strike. If we wait, our work doesn't get done. If our work doesn't get done, our novel doesn't get finished. If our novel doesn't get finished, we don't get published. If we don't get published, we do not become successful, recognized authors. If we do not become successful, recognized authors, we are stuck in a dead-end job that we are trying to crawl out of, but let's face it, we are dying a slow and agonizing death in it. Not fun. Not fun. It's not like our novel is going to carry on its merry little way if we choose to stop and just wait for the muse to happen. It's not going to progress unless we progress it for it. Sorry. And yes, I get it. It is good to take breaks and take your time, and slow and steady wins the race, but that is not even remotely the same as staying still and waiting for inspiration to hit you. One still shows progress. It still shows moving forward, while one is basically you are bathing in stale, stagnant water. Number 4. For the love of God, avoid dialogue tags like the plague. Said is not dead. Said is very much in. In my writing life, this is probably the most popular piece of advice I've ever heard. The debate is still going strong between said is dead and leaving it with nothing but said. This piece of advice is not terrible, but you do need to be careful around. I've been told that said is an invisible word. It allows the reader to just speed through without stumbling, without getting slowed down, and they can just carry on with the story. Because on the other side of the spectrum, dialogue tags might slow them down. I have also been told that said does not help shape and mold your character. If the reader is meeting your character for the first time, and all you're using is said, they're not going to be able to create a proper voice for your character, or an image, a personality. They might down the road, but it's going to be very hard getting there. This is where dialogue tags are important. Said won't help the audience realize that your character has a stutter, or only whispers, or mumbles. You're not going to have your character say, "Run," when a bear is about to trample them. He's probably going to be yelling it at the top of his lungs. However, like I mentioned before, there is such a thing as too much of a good thing. You don't want to be ending every single one of your character's speeches with a tag. This is where said comes in handy, that invisible word. So for example, if your character mumbles quite a bit, it might be a good idea that when in those first beginning chapters, that you use this dialogue tag until the reader gets a general good understanding about how the character sounds and how they talk. However, when you continue on your story, you might not need to use mumble as much unless it is completely needed, because the reader will already have this idea, this vision in their head about how your character talks. And number 5, you don't need to write in chronological order. Okay, I know, maybe this is not terrible advice, but it is not exactly ideal. Some people flourish when they dive right in. They start right in the middle, right in the thick of things, right at the climax. Some people thrive when they start at the very end and they kind of work their way to the beginning. If that works for you, have at her, be on your merry way, I wish you well. However, if this doesn't, you will know. Your readers will know, your editor will know, the entire world will know. Stories not written in chronological order can often be choppy, with mismatched facts, and a lot of loose ends. And if you are currently watching my video and mumbling distastefully to the screen, well, that's what editing is for. You are right, I would have to agree with you, but you are also creating 100 times more work for yourself and your editor. And do you really want that? Like, really? Like, lazy people unite, am I right? No? Okay. And there you have it. Those are my top 5 pieces of advice that 1, either really suck, or 2, you need to take with a grain of salt because they're okay, but it is dangerous ground to tread. Don't get me wrong, there is a shit ton of fantastic advice, great advice just floating around out there. However, there is a lot of WTF pearls of wisdom out there that really just make you question humanity's smarts. The important thing is to learn how to sift through these tips and tricks and learn which ones work for you, which ones present red flags, and which ones to just stay the away from. Alright, so before I close up this video, I wanted to give you guys just a bit of an update on me and my story. His Blue Eyes, I'm having a really good time editing it. The process is going very well. However, I really want to push myself and test my boundaries and my limits and go past them. I want to be able to make my goals and go above and beyond my goals. And vlogging takes up a large chunk of my time. Planning, writing the script, doing the video, editing it, presenting it, promoting it. It takes a long period of time, like whether I realize it or not, and that is time that I could be focusing on my story, because in all honesty, I'm doing these vlogs for my story, and His Blue Eyes should always be priority for me. It should always take precedence, and I really want to give it all of my TLC and my attention and everything like that. So I'm not leaving YouTube, but I am taking a step back. So instead of doing weekly vlogs, I'm going to be doing them every other week. I will be coming back with my beloved awkward adorable videos for you guys, as well as just updates on how it's going. And so until I get my shit together, thank you for your love and support. Love you. With that said, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I post new vlogs every Thursday. Well, every other Thursday now. If you'd like me to talk about something, or even if you want to drop a line and just say hi, you can message me on here or tweet me at Scarlet Stone. As always, I have my little linky-loo swimming down there in the description box for you if you want to check out my Tumblr, my Twitter, my Instagram, my website, all that fun stuff. You know where to find them. Until next time, happy writing. Bye.